In the heart of a sprawling international airport, the hum of constant activity created a symphony of movement and sound. Travelers hurried past with rolling suitcases and hastily folded boarding passes, while announcements echoed overhead, punctuating the air with reminders of gate changes and boarding calls. Security personnel moved with practiced vigilance, their eyes scanning the crowds for anything out of place. Amid this orchestrated chaos stood Marcus Kane, a Navy SEAL whose presence was both commanding and calm. His sharp eyes scanned the terminal with a quiet intensity, the result of years spent reading situations and people with precision. Alongside him was Rex, his loyal service dog, a handsome German shepherd with keen intelligence shining through deep brown eyes. Marcus and Rex were a familiar sight in the airport's security world. Marcus's military background had carved him into a figure of discipline and focus. But beneath that steely exterior was a man who carried the weight of countless missions with quiet dignity. Rex, trained in search and rescue, was more than just a companion. He was a partner forged through countless hours of training and shared danger. Today, as they navigated the bustling terminal, their mission was routine, a security sweep to ensure the safety of the thousands passing through. Yet, the day was far from ordinary. Before we continue, make sure to like and subscribe to never miss a new video. And tell me, where are you watching this video from? I love seeing all different people come together for these stories. The air was thick with the mingling scents of fresh coffee, paperbacks from the newsstands, and the faint trace of jet fuel wafting in from the tarmac beyond the expansive windows. Families clustered near gates, their children bouncing with excitement or clutching stuffed animals, while business travelers hurried by, their faces set in determined lines. Marcus adjusted the strap on Rex's harness, feeling the familiar warmth and strength beneath his hand. The dog's ears twitched, attuned to every sound, every subtle vibration in the environment. Together, they moved as a cohesive unit, an unspoken bond guiding their steps through a sea of strangers. As they approached a security checkpoint, Marcus's mind remained alert but steady, scanning for anomalies. The terminal was designed to funnel people smoothly, but the sheer volume meant vigilance was essential. Rex walked beside him, his nose low to the ground, picking up scents that escaped human detection. Marcus knew the dog's training extended far beyond obedience. Rex could detect explosives, locate missing persons, and sense medical emergencies. It was this unique skill set that made him invaluable in crowded, unpredictable places like airports. A sudden shift in Rex's demeanor caught Marcus's attention. The dog stiffened, muscles taut, and his eyes locked onto a point further down the terminal. Before Marcus could react, Rex pulled sharply on his leash, breaking free from Marcus's firm grip. The dog bolted forward, weaving through clusters of startled travelers and security staff. A ripple of alarm spread as passengers gasped and stepped aside, watching the well-trained dog dart unpredictably through the crowd. Marcus's heart pounded as he chased after Rex, weaving through the chaotic throng. The calm control he usually exercised was replaced by a surge of adrenaline. "Rex, come back!" he called, his voice a mix of command and concern. But the dog was relentless, moving with purpose toward a distant gate where a small group of people had gathered. Eyes followed the chase, some confused, others worried about what might have triggered such behavior from a service dog. Security officers nearby began to take notice, readying themselves to assist. Marcus's mind raced, trying to anticipate what Rex had detected. This wasn't a random burst of energy. The dog's training and instincts wouldn't allow it. Rex's urgency suggested something was wrong, something critical that required immediate attention. As Rex reached the group, he stopped abruptly beside a man slumped against a wall, his face pale and contorted with pain. The man's breath came in shallow gasps, his hand clutching his throat as if struggling for air. People around him murmured in confusion and concern, some dialing emergency numbers on their phones. Rex's keen eyes never left the man, and he let out a low, steady whine, alerting those nearby to the seriousness of the situation. Marcus arrived moments later, kneeling beside the man with practiced efficiency. "Sir, can you hear me?" he asked, his voice calm but urgent. The man's eyes fluttered open briefly, revealing a flicker of panic before he gasped again, his airway clearly compromised. Marcus quickly assessed the scene, recognizing the signs of a severe allergic reaction. The man's face was flushed, swollen, and beads of sweat gathered on his forehead. Time was critical. Rex sat beside the man, his presence a steadying force amidst the growing tension. Marcus signaled to a nearby traveler, "Call for medical aid now. Tell them this is an emergency, anaphylaxis." The man's panic escalated as he struggled to speak, but Marcus remained focused, applying pressure to the man's wrist to check for a pulse and preparing to assist until paramedics arrived. The crowd gathered, whispers spreading about the dog's sudden sprint and the man's distress. Marcus's military training kicked in, filtering through the noise to prioritize what needed to be done. He reached for the man's bag, searching for any indication of what had triggered the reaction. A medication, an epinephrine injector, anything that could help. Rex's nose twitched, sensing the urgency. His eyes locked on Marcus as if encouraging him to act swiftly. The airport's usual buzz was replaced by a tense stillness, punctuated only by the man's labored breathing and the distant wail of approaching sirens. Marcus kept a steady hand on the man's shoulder, offering reassurance even as his mind mapped out the next steps. He glanced at Rex, who remained alert, his training and instincts having turned what could have been disaster into a moment of hope. This was more than just a routine security check. It was a reminder of the unpredictable nature of their work and the profound bond between man and dog. A partnership built on trust, loyalty, and an unwavering commitment to protect lives in the midst of chaos. As the paramedics rushed forward, Marcus felt the weight of the moment settle, knowing that today, Rex's instincts had made all the difference. The sterile clang of metal and hurried footsteps filled the terminal as the crowd's attention converged on the unfolding emergency. Rex, usually tethered by a strict leash and training, had slipped free with a suddenness that sent ripples of surprise through the sea of travelers. Now, as Marcus knelt beside the man struggling for breath, the gravity of the moment settled heavily over the bustling airport. The man's face was pale, his eyes wide with panic, lips trembling as he clawed at his throat. Around them, a cluster of onlookers froze, the usual airport hum reduced to anxious whispers and hurried calls into phones. Marcus's voice cut through the tension, steady and commanding. "Help is on the way. Just keep calm, all right?" He glanced down at Rex, whose ears were perked, sensing the urgency in his handler's tone. The dog's body was taut, every muscle primed to respond. It was clear to Marcus that Rex's sudden escape had not been a lapse in discipline, but a deliberate act, driven by instinct and training honed through years of military service. The man's ragged breaths grew shallower, his hands clutching his throat with desperate urgency. Marcus scanned the immediate surroundings, searching for anything that could explain the sudden collapse. Nearby, a woman fumbled with a small leather bag, pulling out a bottle of pills and an empty inhaler. The man's face flushed red, swelling around the eyes and lips. A textbook reaction Marcus recognized from his medical training during deployments. "Someone find an epinephrine injector," Marcus commanded, rising and moving swiftly. Passengers scrambled, some checking their belongings, others searching the terminal's emergency medical kits. The crowd's anxiety mounted, but Marcus's presence instilled a sense of order. He moved closer to the man again, kneeling to offer support. Rex shifted beside him, his warm body a reassuring presence amid the chaos. As Marcus checked the man's pulse and airway, he noted the rapid onset of symptoms, a severe allergic reaction or anaphylaxis, likely triggered by something ingested or contacted unknowingly. He recognized the telltale signs: swelling, difficulty breathing, and the desperate grasp at any source of relief. The urgency was palpable. Without immediate treatment, the man's condition could deteriorate rapidly. Rex let out a low, insistent whine, his gaze flicking between Marcus and the distressed man. The dog's behavior drew the attention of a nearby security officer, who stepped forward with a first aid kit. "We have an epinephrine pen here," the officer said breathlessly, handing it to Marcus. Without hesitation, Marcus prepared to administer the injection, his hands steady despite the pressure. "Sir, this is going to help you breathe," Marcus said gently, pressing the injector's tip into the man's thigh. A brief moment of resistance gave way to relief as the medication began to take effect. The man's breathing eased slightly, though his face remained flushed. Marcus continued to support him, speaking calmly to keep the man conscious and focused. Throughout the ordeal, Rex remained vigilant, his instincts guiding him to stay close, alert to any change in the man's condition. The dog's presence seemed to comfort the crowd, many of whom had been startled by his sudden dash but now recognized the purpose behind it. Marcus caught the eye of several onlookers, offering a nod of reassurance that everything was under control. The arrival of paramedics was swift, their trained hands taking over the care of the man with practiced efficiency. Marcus briefed them quickly, relaying the sequence of events and the man's response to the epinephrine. As the medical team prepared to transport the man to the hospital, Marcus allowed himself a brief moment to catch his breath, his gaze drifting to Rex, who sat obediently at his side. The dog's escape had sparked a wave of concern and curiosity among travelers and staff alike. Questions buzzed through the terminal. Why had Rex broken free? What had triggered such a reaction? Marcus knew that answers would soon be sought. But right now, the focus was on the man's survival. Rex's instincts had been the catalyst for a life-saving intervention, and Marcus felt a surge of pride in his partner's unwavering dedication. Amid the aftermath, Marcus's thoughts raced ahead to the implications of Rex's behavior. This was not just a moment of heroism, but a reminder of the unpredictable challenges faced in environments where danger could lurk unseen. Service dogs like Rex were trained to detect threats beyond human senses, explosives, drugs, even medical crises. And their actions could mean the difference between disaster and rescue. As the crowd began to disperse, some expressing gratitude, others still processing what had happened, Marcus and Rex moved toward a quieter corner of the terminal. Marcus looped the leash back around Rex's neck with a firm but gentle hand, grounding his partner after the adrenaline-fueled sprint. He rubbed the dog's neck, feeling the familiar warmth beneath his fingers. "Good job, Rex," Marcus murmured, voice thick with both relief and respect. The dog looked up, eyes shining with trust and readiness. Marcus knew this was far from over. The airport authorities would want a full report, and the incident would no doubt draw attention beyond the usual airport security circles. But for now, the immediate crisis had passed, thanks to the bond between a man and his dog, and the instincts that transcended training. Around them, the terminal slowly returned to its frenetic rhythm. Travelers resumed their hurried journeys, announcements continued to echo, and the sprawling airport once again became a crossroads of countless stories. Yet, amid the ordinary, a quiet heroism lingered, a reminder that vigilance and trust between handler and dog could turn a moment of panic into a life saved. Marcus glanced at Rex, knowing that every mission, every challenge, was a testament to their partnership. The dog's unexpected dash was not a breakdown of control, but a beacon of alertness, a signal that sometimes the most vital messages come from the unlikeliest sources. In the midst of the crowd and noise, Marcus prepared to explain, to validate Rex's actions, and to ensure that this moment of chaos was recognized for what it truly was. A courageous act born of instinct and unwavering loyalty. The airport was a place of endless comings and goings. But today, Marcus and Rex had forged a connection that transcended the everyday. A bond that could save lives when it mattered most. The immediate crisis had passed, but the terminal still buzzed with a mixture of curiosity and relief. As paramedics wheeled the man away, Marcus Kane stayed close, his eyes scanning the crowd for anyone who might offer insight into what had triggered Rex's sudden urgency. He knew the dog's behavior was deliberate, driven by something only Rex could sense, and Marcus needed to understand what had set off the alarm. That's when Elaine Rivera appeared, a sharp-eyed airport security officer who had been nearby during the incident. She approached with purposeful strides, her uniform crisp and her demeanor professional yet warm. "I saw what happened," she said quietly, nodding toward Rex and Marcus. "That dog saved a life today. I'm Elaine Rivera, airport security. Mind if I help?" Marcus gave a brief nod, appreciating the offer. Together, they moved away from the dispersing crowd, finding a quieter corner near the security office where they could piece together the puzzle. Elaine's familiarity with the terminal and its protocols complemented Marcus's military precision, creating a synergy that promised answers. Rex, still alert, sat obediently beside Marcus, his ears twitching at every sound. Elaine pulled out a tablet, quickly accessing security camera footage from the area. "Let's see if we can figure out what Rex detected," she said, tapping through clips with swift expertise. The screen flickered to life, showing the terminal moments before Rex's sudden dash. The footage revealed a man slumped near Gate 42, the same gate where the allergic reaction had occurred. What caught their attention was the man's trembling hand, a small, clear plastic bag clutched tightly. Marcus leaned in, focusing on the bag's contents. It appeared to hold a snack bar, partially unwrapped. "That could be it," Marcus murmured. "If he's allergic, maybe there's something in that snack that triggered the reaction." Elaine nodded. Rex must have picked up on the scent, maybe the allergen itself or something related. Dogs have a remarkable sense of smell, often able to detect things humans can't even imagine. With a few more taps, Elaine pulled up a manifest of passengers boarding from Gate 42, cross-referencing names and any reported medical alerts. Marcus's sharp eyes caught the name David Harper, matching the man who had collapsed. Elaine made a quick call to the medical response team on site, confirming that David was receiving treatment and was expected to stabilize. While the medical team worked, Marcus and Elaine continued their investigation. Elaine shared insights about the airport's protocols for handling medical emergencies and the role of service animals in such environments. "We don't often see dogs acting on medical alerts like this," she admitted. "Usually they're trained for security threats, explosives, weapons, things like that." Marcus nodded thoughtfully. "Rex is trained for search and rescue, but his training includes medical detection. We've worked together in scenarios where his instincts saved lives. Today was a vivid example." Elaine glanced at Rex, who remained composed despite the flurry of activity. "He's impressive, I think we should document this thoroughly. It could improve protocols and training for service dogs here. Marcus agreed. Absolutely. But first, we need to understand exactly what Rex sensed. If it was the allergen, this could be a game changer for early detection in airports. They decided to speak with the man's companion, who had been nearby when David collapsed. Elaine located a woman sitting near a coffee kiosk, her face pale but composed. She introduced herself as Maria, David's sister, and recounted the events leading up to the incident. He didn't realize the snack bar had peanuts, Maria explained, her voice shaky. He's severely allergic. But in the rush to get here, he didn't check the label. Rex's behavior. It was like he knew something was wrong before we did. Marcus exchanged a look with Elaine, the pieces falling into place. Rex had detected the allergen on the snack bar, prompting him to break free and alert those around them. It was a remarkable testament to the dog's training and acute senses. Elaine took notes diligently, coordinating with Marcus to ensure all details were captured. This information will help us train other service animals to recognize medical emergencies, not just security threats, she said. It's about expanding their role in public safety. Marcus felt a surge of pride for Rex, whose instincts had turned a potential tragedy into a rescue. He knew the bond between handler and dog was built on trust, but moments like this underscored how vital that connection was in unpredictable situations. As they wrapped up their conversation, Elaine suggested they walk the terminal together, observing areas where Rex's skills might be utilized more effectively. Marcus welcomed the opportunity, aware that their collaboration could lead to meaningful changes. They moved through the terminal, Rex leading the way with a calm confidence that belied the chaos of the airport. Marcus explained Rex's training regimen, the hours spent honing skills that went beyond obedience, skills that saved lives in ways most people never witnessed. Elaine listened intently, asking questions about Rex's responses, how he communicated urgency, and what signs to watch for in service dogs under stress. Their dialogue was a blend of military precision and airport operational expertise, forging a path toward enhanced safety measures. In a quiet moment near the security checkpoint where the incident began, Marcus knelt beside Rex, stroking his fur. "Good job, partner," he said softly. Rex looked up, eyes filled with trust and readiness, as if understanding the weight of what had just transpired. Their partnership was more than the sum of training and instinct. It was a lifeline in moments when seconds mattered most. Elaine watched them, admiration clear in her expression. "You two make a great team," she said. "I think we're going to see a lot more of this kind of teamwork in the future." Marcus nodded, feeling the truth of her words. The airport was a crossroads of countless lives, each with its own story, risks, and challenges. With Rex by his side and allies like Elaine, he was ready to face whatever came next. As the day pressed on, Marcus, Elaine, and Rex moved forward together, united by a shared purpose: to protect, to serve, and to save lives in the unpredictable flow of the world's busiest terminal. As the sterile hum of the terminal settled into a steady rhythm, Marcus Kane found himself seated across from David Harper in a small, quiet room near the airport's medical center. David's complexion had softened from the harsh pallor of earlier, his breathing more regular as the effects of the epinephrine injection and subsequent treatment took hold. His eyes, still shadowed by the ordeal, met Marcus's with a mixture of gratitude and lingering fear. "I had no idea," David said quietly, his voice hoarse but steady. "I thought I checked everything before I left home. But this snack bar had peanuts in it. I didn't see the warning on the label." Marcus nodded, understanding the invisible dangers that allergies posed. "It happens more often than you'd think," People rush, distractions pile up, and sometimes the smallest oversight can spiral into a crisis. David's gaze shifted to Rex, who lay calmly at Marcus's feet, his keen eyes watching the exchange as if sensing the gravity of the conversation. "That dog," David said softly, a hint of wonder in his voice. "He saved my life. I don't even know how." Marcus leaned forward, his expression earnest. "Rex is trained not just for security, but for search and rescue. His instincts are finely tuned to detect threats, whether it's explosives, missing persons, or medical emergencies like yours. When he sensed something was wrong, he acted without hesitation." David exhaled slowly, the tension easing from his shoulders. "I can't thank you enough. I don't know what would have happened if Rex hadn't alerted someone." Marcus allowed himself a small smile. "You're lucky. But Rex's training and instincts made the difference here. It's a reminder of how important it is to trust those instincts, especially in unpredictable environments like airports." The room was quiet for a moment, the weight of the near tragedy hanging in the air. Marcus's mind flicked back to the frantic moments in the terminal, the sharp pull of Rex's leash, the dog's determined sprint through the crowd, the desperate gasps for air. He realized how vital that connection between handler and dog was, a silent language forged through trust and experience. David's sister, Maria, entered the room quietly, her eyes bright with concern and relief. "He's going to be okay," she said, offering a tentative smile. "Thanks to you and Rex." Marcus stood to shake her hand, his gaze steady. "We're just glad he's safe. This incident has shown us how service dogs like Rex can do more than just guard and protect. They can save lives in unexpected ways." Maria nodded, a newfound respect evident in her expression. "I hope this helps others understand the importance of trained service animals. They're more than pets, they're partners." Marcus agreed. "Absolutely. And it's why we're working to spread awareness, improve training, and make sure protocols adapt to these evolving roles." As they talked, Marcus shared with David and Maria the details of Rex's training regimen. He explained how the dog was conditioned to detect specific scents and respond to emergencies with urgency and precision. The conversation shifted to the broader implications, how airports and public spaces could benefit from integrating medical alert dogs more fully into their security frameworks. David listened intently, nodding with growing appreciation. "I never imagined a dog could do all that. It's incredible." Marcus glanced at Rex, who sat patiently, his posture relaxed yet alert. "Rex and I have been through a lot together. The bond we share is built on trust and communication. That bond is what allows him to act decisively when it counts." The conversation deepened as Marcus and Elaine Rivera, the airport security officer who had assisted earlier, joined the room. Elaine brought a wealth of knowledge about airport operations and security protocols, and together they discussed strategies to better incorporate service dogs into emergency response plans. Elaine's voice was pragmatic but hopeful. "This incident has opened our eyes. We're looking into training programs that expand beyond traditional security roles, incorporating medical detection capabilities. It's about saving lives before emergencies escalate." Marcus nodded. "And it starts with education, training handlers, security staff, and the public to recognize and respect the signals these animals give." David's eyes shone with gratitude. "I'm grateful for that. Knowing Rex was on duty that day gave me a second chance." The group's conversation continued, weaving through the practicalities of training, the challenges of crowded public spaces, and the emotional connection between handler and dog. Marcus felt a quiet pride in the role Rex had played, a living testament to the power of partnership and preparedness. As the meeting wound down, Marcus looked at the faces around him. David, Maria, Elaine, all touched by the experience and united by a shared commitment to safety and awareness. He knew this was only the beginning of a broader conversation, one that could reshape how service animals were viewed and utilized in public spaces. The hours passed, and the terminal outside continued its relentless pace. But inside this small room, a story of courage, trust, and hope had taken root. Marcus's thoughts lingered on the bond he shared with Rex, a bond that had turned a routine day into a life-saving mission. As David prepared to leave, Marcus offered a final word of reassurance. Take care, and remember, your awareness and Rex's instincts save the day. Keep that vigilance going. David smiled, a flicker of newfound strength in his eyes. I will. Thank you, Marcus. And thank you, Rex. Marcus watched as they left, the weight of the moment settling over him. The partnership between man and dog had once again proven its worth, a silent force in a world where every second counted. The aftermath of the incident settled into a quieter rhythm as the airport's daily flow resumed. But Marcus Kane remained sharp, determined to understand every detail behind Rex's unexpected behavior. With David Harper safely on his way to recovery, Marcus shifted focus to reviewing the security footage that might explain what triggered Rex's sudden and urgent reaction. In a small, dimly lit room near the airport's security hub, Marcus sat beside Elaine Rivera, the airport security officer who had joined him earlier. The glow of the monitor illuminated their faces as they watched the recorded footage from the terminal cameras. The video played in slow motion, capturing the moments leading up to Rex's break from Marcus's grip. There, among the stream of travelers, was David Harper, his movements slow and uneven as he clutched a small snack bar in one hand. The camera zoomed in on the partially unwrapped wrapper, the label faintly visible. Peanuts. Marcus's eyes narrowed. That's it. Rex must have caught the scent of the peanuts, something he's trained to detect, given his medical alert training. Elaine nodded, tapping the screen. Look here. Rex's body language changes just before he bolts. His ears perk up, muscles tense. He's zeroed in on Harper. The footage revealed Rex weaving through the crowd with purpose, bypassing distractions, heading straight for the man whose face had already begun to show distress. Marcus felt a surge of respect for Rex's instincts. So finely tuned, they could cut through the noise of a busy terminal to identify a hidden threat. This isn't just about security threats like bombs or weapons, Marcus said, leaning forward. It's about saving lives in ways most people don't realize. Rex's training is broad, designed to pick up on medical emergencies. Elaine's fingers flew across the keyboard as she pulled up records from the airport's emergency response logs. There have been a few incidents where service dogs alerted to medical issues before humans noticed, but none quite like this. Marcus studied the footage again, noting how Rex's actions had not only alerted passengers, but also set in motion the airport's rapid response. His behavior forced people to act, to check on Harper before it was too late. Elaine looked thoughtful. We should consider this when updating our training programs. Service dogs could be vital assets beyond traditional security roles. Marcus agreed. Exactly. But we need to ensure handlers and security personnel understand these dogs' full capabilities. It's about trust and communication. As they reviewed the footage, Marcus pulled out Rex's training logs, cross-referencing the dog's past responses and exercises. Rex had undergone specialized sessions to detect chemical and biological agents. But his medical alert training had been less publicized outside their unit. Rex's ability to detect allergens comes from scent training with specific compounds, Marcus explained. He's been conditioned to recognize the presence of common allergens, peanuts, shellfish, even certain medications. Elaine raised an eyebrow. So he's like a walking, sniffing early warning system. Marcus smiled. More or less. But it's the partnership that matters. Rex trusts me to interpret his signals, and I trust him to act when something's wrong. Their discussion turned to the practical challenges of deploying such skills in an airport environment. Crowds, distractions, and noise could all interfere with a service dog's focus. Yet Rex's performance had proven that with proper training and handler awareness, these obstacles could be overcome. Elaine pulled up a report of similar incidents at other airports, noting a growing trend in the use of medical alert dogs. This could be the start of a new protocol. Dogs trained not just for security, but as medical first responders. Marcus tapped the screen, highlighting Rex's path through the terminal. We should document this thoroughly. If we can show that dogs like Rex can provide early warnings for medical emergencies, it might save countless lives. Elaine nodded. I'll draft a proposal for the airport authority. We can include training recommendations for handlers and security staff. Marcus felt a surge of hope. Their combined expertise, military precision, and airport security knowledge could influence policy and make airports safer for everyone. As the footage ended, Marcus stood and stretched, glancing toward Rex, who lay patiently nearby, eyes alert despite the calm. The dog's instincts had saved a man's life today, but Marcus knew this was only the beginning. He turned back to Elaine. Let's make sure Rex's story gets told, not just as a hero dog, but as proof of what can happen when training meets trust. Elaine smiled. Agreed. And maybe next time we'll prevent an emergency before it even starts. Outside the security room, the terminal buzzed on, oblivious to the quiet revolution brewing behind the scenes. But for Marcus and Rex, every scan, every sniff, every split-second decision was a reminder. Vigilance and partnership were the greatest weapons against the unseen dangers of the world. As they prepared to leave, Marcus felt a deep sense of purpose. Rex was more than a service dog. He was a lifeline, a guardian, a silent sentinel in the crowded chaos. Together, they would continue to hone their skills, ready for whatever challenge came next. The story of Rex's keen nose and quick action was not just a singular moment of heroism. It was a testament to the evolving role of service animals in modern security and medical response. And with this knowledge, Marcus and Elaine were determined to forge a new path, one where trust, training, and instinct combined to save lives before it was too late. The airport terminal buzzed with its usual frenetic energy, travelers weaving through lines and gates, announcements echoing overhead, and the scent of fresh coffee mingling with the subtle hum of aircraft engines beyond the windows. Amid this chaos, Marcus Kane and airport security officer Elaine Rivera stood in a quiet corner of the operations center, coordinating the next steps to build on Rex's life-saving intervention. Marcus's gaze was steady as he reviewed the plan laid out on the digital display before them. We need to ensure David receives prompt follow-up care, he said. But beyond that, it's crucial we prepare the ground here. Train staff, inform the public, and establish a protocol that recognizes service dogs' medical alert abilities. Elaine nodded, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she drafted messages and coordinated with various airport departments. I've already contacted the medical teams and the communications office. We'll issue a statement highlighting Rex's role and the importance of trained service animals in emergencies. Public awareness will be key. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. It's about trust, between handler and dog, between staff and the public. People need to understand the signals these animals give and respond appropriately. The two moved through the terminal, weaving past travelers and staff, their presence commanding subtle respect. Marcus kept Rex close. The dog's calm demeanor, a stark contrast to the swirling activity around them. People glanced curiously at the German Shepherd, some nodding in recognition, others whispering about the dog that had saved a life. At the security briefing room, Marcus and Elaine addressed a group of officers and medical personnel. The atmosphere was tense but focused, the weight of responsibility evident in every face. Marcus began, recounting the incident in detail. The sudden allergic reaction, Rex's instincts, and the swift response that had prevented tragedy. This isn't just about one event, Marcus emphasized. It's about how we can improve our readiness for medical emergencies through better training and awareness. Rex's actions show that service animals can be our first line of defense in these situations. Elaine followed, outlining plans for specialized training sessions for handlers and security staff. We'll focus on recognizing the signs of medical distress, understanding service dog signals, and coordinating rapid response. Communication and teamwork are vital. Questions arose: how to integrate these protocols without disrupting existing security measures, how to manage crowds during emergencies, and how to respect the unique bond between handlers and their dogs. Marcus and Elaine addressed each concern with clarity, drawing on their combined experience. Later, Marcus found a moment to reflect as he watched Rex interact with a group of curious children near a waiting area. The dog's gentle nature shone through as he allowed the kids to pet him, his eyes bright and patient. Marcus felt a surge of pride, not just for Rex's heroism, but for the potential to inspire trust and understanding in others. Elaine joined him, her expression thoughtful. Rex is more than a service dog. He's a symbol of what's possible when training meets instinct. If we can share that message, we'll change how the public views these animals. Marcus nodded. And that change can save lives. We need to keep building on this momentum. As the day progressed, Marcus and Elaine coordinated with the airport's public relations team to prepare a press release and informational materials. They arranged for Rex to be recognized, officially by the airport authority, and for Marcus to participate in upcoming training workshops. The partnership between Marcus and Elaine deepened, rooted in a shared commitment to safety and innovation. They planned joint exercises simulating medical emergencies, incorporating service dogs' unique abilities into standard protocols. Throughout it all, Rex remained a steady presence, his instincts finely attuned to the world around him. Marcus watched as the dog moved through crowded areas, alert but composed, a living testament to the power of trust and preparation. That evening, as the terminal's lights dimmed and the last flights prepared for departure, Marcus sat quietly in a corner office, reviewing the day's progress. He thought about the man who had nearly lost his life, the quick actions that had saved him, and the lessons learned along the way. Rex lay at his feet, head resting on paws, eyes half closed but ever watchful. Marcus reached down, running a hand along the dog's sleek coat. "We're ready for whatever comes next, partner," he said softly. Outside, the airport continued its ceaseless rhythm. Comings and goings, arrivals and departures, lives intersecting in fleeting moments. But inside, a new chapter was unfolding, one where service dogs like Rex were not just companions, but vital guardians, bridging the gap between instinct and action, trust and survival. With determination and teamwork, Marcus and Elaine prepared to lead that change, ensuring that the next emergency would meet a faster, smarter response, one where every second counted and every life was protected. The terminal thrummed with the steady pulse of travelers rushing toward gates, the scrape of rolling luggage and distant announcements blending into a familiar airport symphony. Yet beneath this surface of normalcy, A subtle tension lingered, a mixture of awe and skepticism that had quietly rippled through staff and passengers alike following Rex's unexpected dash and life-saving intervention. Marcus Kane stood near the security checkpoint, his posture commanding but relaxed, as he fielded questions from a small group of airport officials and curious onlookers. The spotlight had shifted to Rex, whose calm demeanor belied the extraordinary events that had unfolded just hours earlier. Some faces were filled with admiration, but others held doubt, a natural response to the unprecedented display of a service dog breaking protocol in such a dramatic fashion. An airport supervisor approached, her expression formal yet tinged with concern. "Marcus, there's been feedback from some staff questioning Rex's breach of standard procedure. They're worried about the precedent it sets. Dogs running loose in crowded areas could cause chaos." Marcus met her gaze steadily. "I understand the concerns," he replied, voice measured. But Rex's actions were deliberate and critical. His instincts detected a medical emergency before any human could. In situations like this, the priority has to be saving lives. A murmured agreement came from a nearby officer, though others remained unconvinced. Marcus knew that balancing protocol with instinct was a challenge, especially in high-security environments. "We can't treat this as a one-off," he continued. "We need clear guidelines that allow trained service dogs to respond appropriately without compromising safety." A senior security official stepped forward, his tone cautious but open. "We'll need to review the incident thoroughly, assess risks, and determine how to integrate such responses into our procedures. It's uncharted territory." Marcus nodded. "Agreed." Rex's behavior wasn't a lapse. It was a calculated response honed by training and trust. That needs to be recognized. Meanwhile, Rex sat patiently at Marcus's side, his keen eyes scanning the crowd, alert to every movement. Passengers nearby whispered, some snapping discreet photos, others reaching out to pet the dog with gentle smiles. The public's reaction was mixed but largely positive, a testament to the dog's charisma and the powerful story behind his actions. As the discussion unfolded, Marcus noticed a group of travelers lingering nearby, their expressions a blend of curiosity and skepticism. One woman stepped forward, her voice tinged with doubt. "Isn't it dangerous to have a dog breaking away like that? What if he'd caused panic or injured someone?" Marcus turned to face her, his tone calm but firm. "Rex is highly trained. His behavior was precise, controlled. The safety of the people around him was his priority, as much as the man he saved. Sometimes, following protocol isn't enough when lives are at stake." The woman seemed to consider this, her stance softening slightly. "I see your point. But how do you ensure this doesn't happen recklessly in the future?" "That's exactly what we're working on," Marcus replied. "We're developing comprehensive training and guidelines for handlers and security staff. It's about preparation, communication, and trust." Elaine Rivera joined the conversation, her presence lending added weight. "We want to make sure everyone understands the unique role service dogs can play, not just in security, but in medical emergencies. Education is key to overcoming skepticism." The dialogue continued, moving between officials, staff, and the public. Questions about liability, protocol adjustments, and handler responsibilities were raised and addressed with a blend of transparency and conviction. Marcus and Elaine emphasized that Rex's actions were a catalyst for change, not a breach to be punished. As the afternoon wore on, a crowd began to form, some drawn by the story, others by the chance to meet Rex, the dog who had saved a life. Children approached with shy smiles, adults asking questions, and even some airport employees who had been skeptical earlier now looked on with newfound respect. Marcus took a moment to kneel beside Rex, running a hand along his coat. "You handled that well, partner," he murmured. Rex's tail gave a faint wag, eyes bright with the quiet pride of a job well done. Suddenly, a manager from the communications team appeared, holding a tablet displaying social media posts and news updates. "The story's gone viral," she said, a mix of surprise and excitement in her voice. "People are sharing videos, praising Rex, and discussing the role of service dogs in emergencies. It's sparking a real conversation." Marcus glanced at the screen, a steady smile forming. "That's good. It means people are paying attention." Elaine nodded. "It also means we have a responsibility to guide this conversation, ensure accurate information, and promote training and safety." The group agreed to organize a public forum where travelers, staff, and experts could discuss the evolving role of service dogs in security and medical response. It was an opportunity to turn skepticism into understanding, to build bridges between protocol and instinct. As the crowd dispersed, Marcus felt a renewed sense of purpose. The path ahead wouldn't be without challenges, resistance to change, questions of liability, and the need for clear policies. But the foundation was solid. Rex's actions had opened a door, and it was up to them to walk through it thoughtfully. Later, as the terminal lights dimmed and the flow of passengers slowed, Marcus stood with Rex near a quiet gate. The dog's gaze was steady, reflecting the trust and connection that had guided them through the day's ordeal. "Protocol or not, you did what was right," Marcus said softly. "And sometimes, that's all that matters." Rex's tail thumped gently on the floor, a silent affirmation. In the midst of the terminal's endless movement, the bond between man and dog had proven stronger than rules and doubts. A beacon of courage, trust, and the unpredictable power of instinct. The sterile air of the airport medical center was punctuated by the quiet hum of monitors and the soft shuffle of nurses moving between beds. David Harper lay reclined in a private room, his breathing steady, the color returning to his cheeks after the frightening ordeal. The staff had done their part swiftly and expertly, but it was clear that without Rex's timely intervention, the outcome could have been far grimmer. Marcus Kane stood nearby, watching as David's condition stabilized under the watchful eye of the medical team. The weight of what had transpired settled heavily on Marcus's shoulders, mingling relief with a profound respect for the bond he shared with Rex. It was this partnership that had transformed a near tragedy into a story of survival. David's eyes opened slowly, meeting Marcus's gaze with gratitude. "I owe you, and Rex, my life," he said softly, his voice still fragile but sincere. "I didn't realize how quickly things could go wrong." Marcus shook his head, a faint smile crossing his lips. "You did what you could. Rex just helped us get there in time. Nurses came in to check vitals and administer medication, while Marcus took a moment to update David on the investigation into the incident. He explained how Rex's training had enabled him to detect the allergen, and how the dog's instincts had overridden protocol to alert those around him. David nodded thoughtfully. "It's incredible. I never imagined a dog could do all that." Marcus glanced at Rex, who lay quietly by the door, ears perked and alert despite the calmness of the room. Service dogs like Rex are trained for more than companionship. They're partners in safety, trained to sense dangers that humans might miss. Later, as David's sister Maria entered the room, the mood lightened. She approached with a relieved smile, her eyes bright with tears. "Thank you for everything," she said, shaking Marcus's hand. Knowing he was in good hands, and that Rex was there means the world to us. Marcus nodded. It was a team effort. Rex's instincts, the quick response of airport staff, and your support all played a part. As the medical team prepared to discharge David, Marcus and Elaine Rivera, the airport security officer who had assisted earlier, joined the conversation. Elaine shared plans to incorporate medical alert training into the airport's service dog programs, emphasizing the importance of proactive measures. Marcus added, "This incident has shown us how critical early detection is. We're working on enhancing training and protocols to ensure dogs like Rex can act effectively and handlers can respond with confidence." David listened intently. "I hope my experience helps others understand the importance of awareness and preparedness." Elaine nodded. "Absolutely. We want to raise public awareness about allergies and the vital role service dogs play in emergencies." As David prepared to leave, Marcus offered final words of encouragement. "Take care and keep vigilant. Rex and I will be here if you ever need us." David smiled, a spark of renewed strength in his eyes. "Thank you. You both gave me a second chance." Outside the medical center, the airport buzzed with its usual activity. But beneath the surface, a story of resilience and partnership was unfolding. A testament to the power of trust between man and dog. Marcus watched as Rex padded calmly beside him. The dog's steady presence a reminder that every moment of training, every instinct honed, was a step toward saving lives. The mission was far from over. There were more challenges ahead, more lives to protect. But for now, in the quiet aftermath of a crisis averted, Marcus felt a deep sense of purpose. Together with Rex, he would continue to stand ready, eyes sharp, senses alert, and hearts committed to the unspoken bond that had made all the difference. The conference room at the airport's headquarters was alive with quiet energy. A gathering of military officials, airport security personnel, medical experts, and media representatives. Marcus Kane sat at the front beside Rex, whose calm demeanor drew curious glances and appreciative smiles from attendees. The story of the dog's life-saving instincts had rippled beyond the terminal, capturing the attention of organizations that recognize the evolving role of service animals. Elaine Rivera stood to address the room, her voice steady and clear. "Today, we recognize the bravery and quick thinking of Marcus Kane and his service dog, Rex. Their actions not only saved a life, but have opened new possibilities for integrating medical alert capabilities into airport security." Applause filled the room, but Marcus's mind was focused beyond the ceremony. He knew the real work had just begun, the task of turning Rex's heroism into a model that could be replicated and expanded. After the formal commendations, Marcus met with representatives from military and civilian organizations interested in endorsing Rex's training program. They discussed plans to develop standardized curricula for service dogs trained in medical detection, emphasizing collaboration between handlers, security teams, and medical responders. Elaine highlighted the importance of interdisciplinary training exercises, where dogs like Rex could be tested in simulated emergencies, refining their responses under varied conditions. This approach ensures readiness and builds trust among all involved, she explained. Marcus nodded, sharing insights from his own experiences in the field. The bond between handler and dog is foundational. Training must reinforce that trust, enabling dogs to act decisively and handlers to interpret their signals accurately. The conversation turned to community outreach, with plans to educate the public about allergies and the vital roles service dogs play. David Harper, whose recovery had inspired much of the momentum, was scheduled to speak at upcoming awareness events, becoming an advocate for allergy awareness and service animal recognition. As the day progressed, Marcus received commendations from military officials who praised Rex's service and the innovative collaboration with civilian agencies. Plans were set in motion to expand similar training programs to other airports and security sectors. Throughout the event, Rex remained a steady presence, interacting gently with children and adults alike, embodying the loyalty and courage that had become emblematic of his role. Marcus watched with quiet pride, aware that the dog's impact extended far beyond the terminal where the crisis had unfolded. Later, as the conference wound down, Marcus and Elaine reviewed next steps. They would oversee the rollout of training initiatives, coordinate with medical experts to refine detection techniques, and work closely with airport authorities to implement new protocols. Marcus reflected on the journey, from a sudden sprint through a crowded terminal to this moment of recognition and responsibility. Rex's instincts had saved a life, but it was the broader commitment to trust, preparation, and partnership that would define their legacy. As they left the conference room, Marcus knelt beside Rex, offering a gentle pat. "You're more than a hero, Rex. You're a beacon for what's possible." The dog's eyes met his, full of unwavering loyalty and readiness for whatever mission lay ahead. Outside, the airport continued its ceaseless flow of arrivals and departures. But within its walls, a new chapter was unfolding, one where courage, training, and compassion converged to protect and save lives in ways once unimagined. The sun dipped low over the sprawling airport, casting long shadows across the tarmac where planes prepared for their evening departures. Inside the terminal, the pace slowed as travelers settled into their final moments before boarding. But for Marcus Kane and his service dog Rex, the day was far from over. They stood near a quiet gate, the hum of activity softened by the fading light. A moment of calm amid relentless motion. Marcus's gaze rested on Rex, the loyal German shepherd whose instincts had transformed a routine security sweep into a life-saving mission. The bond between them was palpable, silent yet unbreakable, forged through years of training, trust, and shared experience. Today's events had reinforced that connection, reminding Marcus why their partnership mattered beyond any protocol or procedure. "Rex," Marcus murmured, kneeling to stroke the dog's sleek coat. "Today showed the world what you're capable of. But more than that, it reminded me why I trust you with my life." Rex's eyes met his, steady and unwavering, a silent vow understood without words. The story of Rex's heroic intervention had rippled far beyond the terminal walls. Recognition from military and civilian organizations had brought accolades, but Marcus knew that the true impact lay in the changes their experience would inspire. New training programs, protocols embracing medical alert capabilities, and a growing awareness of the vital role service dogs played in public safety. As the terminal lights flickered on, casting a warm glow over the bustling concourse, Marcus reflected on the journey. From the frantic moments of crisis to the calm resolve that followed, the mission was no longer just about security. It was about compassion, vigilance, and the profound partnership between man and dog. Nearby, Elaine Rivera approached, her expression bright with determination. "The training programs are gaining momentum. Airports across the country are eager to adopt what we've developed." Marcus smiled. "That's good to hear. It means Rex's actions won't be an isolated story, but a catalyst for change." Elaine nodded, and the public's response has been overwhelmingly positive. People are beginning to understand the depth of these partnerships. The two exchanged a look of shared purpose, the weight of responsibility mingling with hope. As the evening deepened, Marcus and Rex moved through the terminal, their presence a symbol of courage and dedication. Passengers paused to offer smiles and quiet thanks, sensing the extraordinary beneath the ordinary. At a nearby kiosk, a young child reached out to pet Rex, her eyes wide with wonder. Marcus knelt beside her, explaining softly, "Rex is a hero. His nose helped save a man's life today." The child beamed, her small hand resting gently on Rex's head. "I want to be like Rex when I grow up." Marcus chuckled, the simple innocence a reminder of the future they were working to protect. As the final boarding calls echoed through the terminal, Marcus paused, his thoughts drifting to the countless lives that passed through these halls daily, each with their own stories, challenges, and hopes. It was a place of endless comings and goings, but also one where vigilance and compassion intersected to safeguard the vulnerable. Rex nudged his hand, grounding Marcus in the present. Together, they stood ready, watchful, alert, and united in purpose. The journey ahead was uncertain, but the lessons learned and bonds forged would endure. In the partnership between man and dog, Marcus found not only strength, but hope. A quiet promise that in a world of unpredictable dangers, courage and loyalty would light the way. As the night embraced the airport, Marcus and Rex moved forward, shadows stretching behind them, embodying the unwavering guardianship of those who stand vigilant in the face of the unknown.